Hey guys, for today's prediction, we're doing Donald Trump versus Tulsi Gabbard. Now, again, this is 2024 prediction, as you saw in the title. But, so Donald Trump, of course, in 2024 will be the former president of the United States, and Tulsi Gabbard is a U.S. representative from the state of Hawaii. She's in the military, and she is known as being a moderate, even a conservative in the Democratic Party. Much more conservative and moderate compared to other Democrats in the, you could say the 2020 primary field of Democrats, because she did run for president in 2020. She lost, however, she did stay in the race for quite a while. I think she was the, third to drop out, second to drop out of all the, however many there were. Now, the environment obviously is not good for the Democrats right now. Just saying how unpopular President and Vice President Biden and Harris are. However, that won't affect Tulsi Gabbard as much as it would for an establishment Democrat like Chuck Schumer or Kirsten Gillibrand, whatever. Because she criticizes the Democratic Party. She does not approve of President Biden or Vice President Harris or the Democratic Party. So she isn't going to be seen as affiliated with the Democratic Party as other establishment Democrats. So the environment right now for the Democrats that is bad won't affect her as much as I said before. Again, she's pretty moderate in the Democratic Party. So let's see where this goes. So she would win her home state of Hawaii, along with safe Democratic states. California, Oregon, Washington would all go to her. This West Coast here, going all the way up to Vermont. New York would go to her. I think Illinois, she would win. We'll leave it at that, and Maine's first and Maine at large. Donald Trump would win all these safe Republican states: Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, West Virginia, Indiana, Iowa, Indiana, and Ohio really do see staying in his column. In Minnesota, it's a kind of conservative state on both sides. Generally a conservative state, as I call it. Biden might not be able to win in 2024 as of right now, but I do think Tulsi Gabbard will, just because she will win, this Biden vote from 2020. The same goes for Virginia. Again, she won't be, Terry McAuliffe lost the gubernatorial race because he was so affiliated with the establishment Democratic Party with President Biden. Tulsi Gabbard is not, so I do think she would be able to hang on to the state of Virginia. The same thing goes for New Hampshire. It's another generally conservative state that I do think she would be able to win. And I think Trump would be able to win Maine's 2nd district, the more rural region. Along with Texas, I don't see her doing too well in. I think he could win in Alaska, states that would typically go to it. So now we have the real purple states, the very much swing states. Coming out of the state of Nevada, this is another generally conservative state on the Democratic and Republican side. So I do think that this would be a state that would go to Tulsi Gabbard, especially saying that Hillary Clinton won it by 2.4% in 2016. I definitely think Tulsi Gabbard would, I think she would maybe even increase that margin, maybe bump it up to 3%, but still in a lean margin kind of area. New Mexico and Colorado, I think, are two states that she would hang on to, both Clinton and Biden states in 2016 and 2020. Arizona's hard. This is an area where Tulsi Gabbard will do well, since she's pretty conservative, moderate, and this is generally another one of these generally conservative states. However, the environment for the Democrats right now is going to affect her somewhat, but just depends on how much. But there will be that anti-Trump vote. We need to remember that. The anti-Trump vote from 2020 is still going to be here with Trump as the nominee. So I think just narrowly, I think this would be a tilt state. But I do think that Tulsi Gabbard would narrowly be able to pull out a win in the state of Arizona. Alright, sorry about that. Now you can see. Alright, in Florida. This is a state that Trump increased his win by in 2020 from 2016. I do think he'd be able to hang on to this state. States like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, two generally conservative states, these are going to be two very tough states But I do think, Let's Go Brandon is huge in swing states like Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, where people are regretting voting for President Biden. The same went for Arizona. So I do think that Donald Trump will be able to narrowly pull out a win in Michigan. But really, with parents voting against Trump because January 6th, they feel like their children won't be safe in America, and I think that will have an effect in 2024. I think Tulsi Gabbard will be able to pull out a win in Pennsylvania, and I also think she would in Michigan. With that strong African American vote, Tulsi Gabbard is Samoan, so she will have some minority connection here. But again, African Americans are going to vote they're going to vote for Gabbard to vote against Trump. And in a state like Michigan with a large African American population, that is going to play out significantly. Georgia and North Carolina, there will be that anti-Trump vote, but African Americans, they're not going to turn out heavily for Tulsi Gabbard. They might just stay home, not vote at all. So I really do think that North Carolina would have to stay in the Republican column, and I think just narrowly, Georgia will stay in the Republican column. Another reason why is that many African Americans believe that President Biden hasn't really served their people. African Americans, they were so with him in the 2020 primary, they feel like they deserved something for that, but they feel that he hasn't given them anything. So I do think that'd be another reason for African Americans to not turn out for Tulsi Gabbard. But it doesn't matter. With Michigan and Pennsylvania, Tulsi Gabbard wins with 279 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 259.